Crazy. What happened to little Tracy? Why is he so fat now, bro? He looks like he's fat and been crying. And I know I'm not one to talk because I have two black eyes, but still, what happened to my man's, bro? What happened to my boy? The only reason I'm talking about this is because I saw it on my phone just real quick, and I have ADHD, so obviously I'm thinking about other shit. But the thing is about Rakai, bro, is like Rakai just has no redeeming qualities, bro. Even like Ray has redeeming qualities. Speed, redeeming qualities. Like I said, Kai Cenat, he's got fucking redeeming qualities. Even if you don't necessarily like him as a person, you can at least respect like other members of AMP. You know what I mean? Like maybe you didn't like Kai Cenat, but maybe you like Duke Dennis or you like Agent or somebody, or you know, or even the people associated him with like RDC and like Rage and stuff like that. So like he had a large community that was almost like bigger than just him as a person. That was very interesting to that was just like it felt like more of a world with characters involved in it more than it was like this like specific streamer, you know what I mean? But I don't think Rakai has that. Like Rakai just does not have a single redeeming quality about him, bro. And I feel like if you're gonna be like a rage based streamer or you're gonna be on that type of like being cocky and being arrogant, you need to have some sort of redeeming quality. And I feel like Speed has redeeming qualities. Not only is he like literally like an anomaly of like what's the fucking word am I looking for, bro? Like he's so weirdly athletic and good at sports for no fucking reason. It's absolutely crazy. He's almost like an Olympic level athlete for no reason. It's like this nigga be streaming all the time. Why? How does he look like that? Absolutely crazy. So you know, or he just had like funny clips. Even if some of those clips weren't good, he was like, okay, well, let me lock in. Let me lock in. You know what I mean? You have the my mom is kind of homeless meme. You know what I'm saying? And like other than like the forced ass meme that was the Rakai dance, that's like the only meme that this nigga has really had that's like become ubiquitous across society. And even within like the first year or two of Speed being popping, like you had memes of this nigga. Rakai got no memes, bro. He's got no memes. He's got no redeeming qualities, and he's just arrogant. And so I feel like there's nothing to like about him, bro. So it's just like I feel like the internet's gonna turn on him very quickly, especially once there's an ecosystem built around not liking you. I was watching this video yesterday, and they said the same thing. Once the content creation world can make an ecosystem off of not liking you, if you don't have anything redeeming about you as a person, then you're not going to be able to stay relevant being like that. Even like, I don't know, take like the most Logan Paul. Look at Logan Paul. Logan Paul is he's still up right now. And it's ultimately at the end of the day, like he doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities. But I will say, the times he does make good decisions. Okay, like to get into the WWE, to make Prime, to do the influencer boxing shit, that required someone who knew how to at least make good decisions up until some point. I just don't think Rakai has that. I just don't think he has the ability to make good decisions no matter what he does. And yeah, I think that he needs either a crazy PR run, he needs to go on a crazy PR run, or he's got to hang it up. Just because personally, I feel like that whole era of streaming was left in the wrong hands, bro. Personally, not to say that it should have, like, I know whose hands it should have been in, but like I feel like that was in the wrong hands, bro. Uh-huh. You're very welcome, good sir. Okay, I have like an hour before I gotta lock in. I'm really trying to think about what time I have to. I really didn't think about what time I have to be there. I don't even know what time I gotta be there. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. One. Oh. Good, it's not even like I understand that I understand where I'm going with saying that, but it's like, damn, I know I sound like saying that, but I'm like, but it's not. But it's not. Like objectively, like what? You put on throw right now, nigga. Like what are you talking about? This shit is what are you talking about? Like it's like now like the beats are trash, the rapper is trash. It's like damn, he was really the last nigga that was actually going. Yo, as I'm telling you, every Mace rap album was pretty bad, except Nokia was hard.
One of my favorite covers actually is so simple, but the Project X cover with Ken Carson, he's laying down.
Yes, he actually laid down in wet grass.
For that.
He laid down in wet grass. And it just got through finished raining.
I know you watch a lot of movies. Obviously, like it was inspired by like the Project X.
Jesus Christ, ain't shit original, bro. All right, I mean, look, all I'm saying is like the references aren't even that deep for real. Like if you're gonna make a like a deep cut reference like that, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. If you gonna make a deep cut reference, it's gotta be hard, bro. Like, come on, my nigga, it's gotta be hard. It can't be some shit that you referencing, and if you give it out to your audience, they gonna know. They're not gonna know. They're gonna think it's yours. You gotta reference some shit that is clearly, obviously a reference, and like it's gotta be actually hard for real, bro. But it also makes it like, if I make, cause I'm gonna start really going crazy on the visuals this year. I have a couple of music videos I made previously, and like I edited them and stuff. But I'm trying to work with some other videographers with some like making more content. And it's just like, bro, I don't want any of that shit. Like, what happened to making the iconic shit yourself, bro? And I guess a lot of people just don't have trust and faith in themselves. And I guess a lot of people are probably working with teams, branding managers, and stuff like that are like, look, if you want to get a return on investment, because when you work with a label, you are given an advance. And that advance, whether it's here's $500 or here's $500 million, you have to pay all that back. So I guess a lot of people are probably just specking into what's profitable and just making their return on that. But also at the same time, if you see, artists like what's going on in the UK, which is really crazy that the UK underground is far surpassing America's underground. And I never thought it would be like that. Because we're like Fake Mink, the Rico Ace, and fucking SD Kid, bro. Like, I'm sorry, that's actually some hard shit. That's some shit that's hard, bro. But a lot of these other motherfuckers, it's just like, damn, bro, the raps is not even good. Nothing else is really that good. But beside the point, in terms of like I guess like the jerk sound is its own thing, and like distortion, like these are things that have been existing before, and like Fruity Soft Clipper on the beats, like niggas have been doing that forever. But Fruity Slot, but the other shit though, like actual motherfucker, like actual. Like, niggas are still rapping, it sounds good, and it's, like, pushing a sound that's, like, not proven already. And I guess, like, the only really, like, underground modern example we have of that even though like I only like 1, 2 Slimy songs, that song Need is actually hard, bro. And also like at least I fuck with 2 Slimy's music because he's actually doing some shit that like no one's doing. As much as I'm not like, oh my god, all the 2 Slimy's music is really hard, bro, because it still sounds like trash. But in terms of like production value and production quality, people like Che and Slayer and 2 Slimy ultimately are still putting out more quality shit, and they're not like cribbing within. Even though they're all cribbing off of like Yeet sound, Cardi sound, and the Raid sound overall, it seems like they're still trying to take the risk, take the gamble of like maybe this shit's not gonna get popping, maybe not everyone's gonna fuck with this shit, man, but maybe they have another business strategy and a business plan that's just like, yeah, seeing where shit be at now is just very interesting. This is very interesting. That's all. And I feel like, yeah, if you're gonna pay homage, bro, it's gotta be like really cool and original in what it is that you're like representing, or it has to be like part of your aesthetic and your vibe. So like I see that, bro, but you just see how many look at how many how much cover art has come out in the past 5 years, from mainstream all the way to the underground. That's a copy of somebody else's cover art. Like, bro, 5 years ago it was Olivia Rodrigo, fucking copying Courtney Love's whole album cover from like '96. You got Ken Carson with Project X. I think Che recently just made a reference to one of Skrillex's tapes with his cover art. And I can't think of like 2 more off the top of my head, but I know that there's 2 more examples. But that's 3 examples over the course of like 5 years, all the way from the mainstream, all the way to the underground. That just shows that like people are getting they're getting less and less original as time goes on. Even when you listen to like fucking, I don't know, what's that nigga's name? Bruno Mars, bro. His music just like he found that soul sonic sound and has just been on that. Remember when it was the 70s vibe forever? And it's just like, yeah, dude, making 70s music, we all know that slaps. That's the pinnacle of music, is the 70s. The 70s to like 80 fucking 6 is the pinnacle of modern music right now, as far as we can really see. In terms of like pop music and like especially black music for real too. Oh my, that's like probably that's the pinnacle of it. Even hip hop cribs from the 70s. The classic drum breaks that formulate hip hop, that formulate drum and bass, that formulate trip hop, are from 70s funk records. If it was not for 70s funk records, we wouldn't have hip hop, we wouldn't have drum and bass, we wouldn't have dubstep, we wouldn't have 4 on the Floor if it wasn't for disco. So there's house music. That's all of electro music right there, and that started in the 70s. Literally everything that we do now comes from the 70s. Whether even if it is just a different interpolation of that, or it's actually very literal, and we're using the samples. And I just think it's interesting that like, and I feel like that has to do more with the corporate industry than it has like the corporate nature and the capitalist nature of music, more than it has to do with like artists specifically. Like I feel like artists specifically are willing to do whatever they can because they're in it for the love of the game. But also I think there's an aspect of where like, there's pressure from the labels to put out a certain product that the label knows is going to work, because they're trying to get a return on investment, because that's what a label, whether it's big or small, that's what they're doing. Hey, we're going to give you this amount of money. We're going to give you this platform. Maybe, pay for this, pay for that. But the amount that we're giving you, you're not only going to have to pay us back at some point, but you're also going to have to make more than that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's why music is getting less and less original, because more and more artists are going to what works as a means of maintaining their contract. Um, so I just feel like a lot of the mainstream acts, or even underground, because the underground blew up so crazy. Like just think about when X, Peep, and Juice World all came out. Lil Uzi, Playboy Cardi. Like just think about how big they were. Um, in any label that had a hand in their rock, like they came from the underground. So there's a lot of people now, especially in the independent space or quote unquote underground space, looking for these artists to okay, maybe you could be the next Pete, the next this, the next that. Everyone's looking for that. Everyone's looking for the next wave of big ass artists, and because of the last 10 years of music, people are looking for underground artists, indie artists, and stuff like that to find their niche. So basically, all I'm saying is the underground is runs no different than the industry now. Maybe before the underground ran a little bit differently and there was more freedom, but it's 10 years into the underground sound. That underground sound is now mainstream. Whether you know it or not, that shit is mainstream, bro. So now the new underground or this next level of the underground is probably still going to run the same way because it's backed by that same machine, just at a different level. Instead of the mainstream industry level, it's now the underground industry level, which still allows for a certain level of creative freedom. But when it comes to branding, iconography, all that marketing shit, I feel like more and more labels and more artists are feeling the pressure of having to look at what works and just do that. Which sucks, but that might be where shit is at. not worth it, bro. Well, in the grand scheme of things.
Are you for real?
I'm still alive and kicking.
Seriously?
That nigga is tall as fuck. Oh, hands with him. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to hear anything, bro. I don't want to hear shit. Like, oh God, I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear shit. Man, hey, who don't know anything about nothing. That's the last thing I want to hear from anybody. Especially if they know nary nay about nothing. Because that's really what's going on. If you know nary nay about nothing, me hear nothing you got to say. Me hear none. Me hear none. Me hear none that. Me hear none that. Me hear none that. Me hear none that. Fuckery. Bumbleclot. The pussyclot. Pussyclot talk. Me no hear none that pussyclot talk. Me no hear the rasclat chatter. Me no hear not. Me no care about the unintelligent man them, bro. Unintelligent man them speak unintelligent thoughts, even when it's their opinion on you. So you can never take what man them say to heart, ever. Because they speak fuckery. They show iniquity. And that's what they'll do every time. So you can't listen to them. Especially if they know nary nay about nothing. They know nary nay about nothing, you can't, none that. You hear none that. Many men know nary nay a thing about a thing. Many men know nary nay nothing. But speak with their full heart. Full heart. Talking. In front of your face. Their friends' faces. Take a deep breath. Me hear none that. Me hear none that. Me hear none that. Ooh. We rebuke that around here, man. We rebuke that around here, man. Me know I go on, bro. Me know I go on. Me know a thing or two about a thing or two. Is there one thing I know? It's a thing or two about a thing or two. Okay? Oh, wait. But anyway, yeah. You know? Because, like I said, like, the underground is in the era of, like, stupid, silly, bad meme music. So, there's an opportunity to... There's a vacuum, right? Because, like, industry music, which is where people are used to going to, is, like, stuff that you can listen to. That sounds like doo-doo. But then the underground also kind of sounds like doo-doo. So, if you can use the wave of meme music being spoken about, which is like, yeah, you kind of have to make something that has an abrasive element to it. If you're not making music or sounds, especially in this era, that's a little abrasive, it's not going to catch people's attention because we've heard it all before. Yeah, we've heard it all before. There is not a single sound you can really do right now that we haven't heard before. So the only thing that you can really do is package abrasion. And then that abrasive nature of your music is what is the marketing. People will push that. Oh, the bass is too loud. Oh, it's just distorted. Oh, they can't rap. Or, oh, this is stupid. This is silly. It pushes itself. The more and more you, but also it has to come with the level of artistry. You know what I'm saying? It's got to mean something. So yeah, you can listen to my music, especially these beats. It's like 4 or 5 beats I made. They're all super distorted, all bass super duper loud. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that's intentional, nigga. Because if you actually open up the mix, if you actually look at the beats, nigga, you know I know what I'm doing. You watch me make a beat, I know how to make beats. I've been doing this shit for a long time. But we're just in an era where you have to have something like, something that people can talk about. If people aren't going to be able to talk about your music, like, bro, you got Miles. Miles makes terrible music, bro. But he can sell out a show. Why? Because people talk about his music. They talk about him. Whether you like him or you don't, the fact that you are engaging in a conversation makes individuals participating in said conversation build an identity around you as a person. People that like Miles and people that don't like Miles, whether or not, if you know him, if you know of him, right? A part of your identity is either liking that guy or not liking that guy. And if you fuck with that dude, you'll be like, oh, I'm going to defend how I identify as a person by actively participating in this conversation, by sharing his posts, by reposting it, by listening to his music, by going to his shows, because this is an active part of my identity. And then you've got other people that are still perpetuating, especially in the engagement era that we live in of the internet. It's not about likes, it's not about followers, it's about how much your core content can get people to engage. That's the hardest part. That's the X factor. You know what I mean? I made a video, said some stupid rage baiting shit. Hella views. More views than I have, like hella views, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? I wish I could get views like this on my like consistent views like this on my music, bro. What the fuck? That'd be crazy. But I made a video that people already have. It's about a topic and a concept that people already build their identity around. Politics. Everybody, whether you are apolitical or actively political, you build your entire identity off of politics. Whether you're a racist, whether you like gay people or straight people, whether you think it's okay as a man to wash your asshole, everything is fucking political. Everything. So every single human being is basing their identity off of politics. That's why it was easy for that video that I made to blow up and get 40K views. Because I just happened to make people talk about something that, whether they agree with it or not, they are willing to engage in the conversation over social media, giving me views, giving me engagement, pushing my video out more, because people build their identity on it. So, if you are an artist in this generation, you either have to be super silly goofy to appeal to the ironic, genuine enjoyer that's like meme rot, brain rot music, basically. That's Miles, that's Rest in Peace My Granny, she got shot with a bazooka, all those stupid ass songs. Those songs are popularized by people that built their identity off of memes and brain rot. So they're going to share that content. They're going to share those videos because it's an extension of their identity. If you make real cool, popular underground hip-hop music, right? And maybe you like, maybe you fucking like, I don't know, dude, maybe you like boom bap music, and you make shit that sounds like MF Doom. You can't market your music, your MF Doom music, to people that like brain rot shit. You can't do that. But you can market your music to the group of people that identify with not liking that kind of music. So if you brand all of your music towards, hey, you hate all that brain rot bullshit music, listen to me. And then you push that message out. Everything, and then people can start to build an identity. Oh, well, this guy, he's got good music and he stands for something. Personally, my identity as an artist, I'm like half brain rot, half serious artist. So yeah, I'm gonna come with some hard bars. I'm gonna come with some interesting wordplay. My music is gonna have concepts and like an actual thought behind it. But the execution of it is going to be ultimately very silly, lackadaisical, and a little abrasive, because that's my personality. I'm lackadaisical and silly and goofy and a little abrasive. So, cool. I feel like I can there's a medium market in between the casual brain rot enjoyer and the actual just casual and just enjoyer of music, that fits into a specific age bracket. Like the best way for me to market my music and my sound is via age bracket, because it's more likely that if you're between the ages of 30 and 21, you're gonna like my music because we all grew up off of being inspired by the same things. If you grew up playing Tony Hawk, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pokemon, listening to WWE, if you listen to Chief Keef and Limp Bizkit, like if you grew up listening to Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park as a kid, and then transitioned into listening to Chief Keef, Xavier Wolf, Playboi Carti, and Lil Uzi, or vice versa. Because some people never even heard alternative music. Like as a black person, I never even really like heard like hardcore skate punk. Like I'd heard alternative music, obviously, from like my mom and stuff. But like hardcore skate punk, like Fugazi and like Dead Kennedys, I had never heard that until I played Tony Hawk. Never heard any of that shit. Because my mom was not listening to that kind of stuff. My mom was listening to like Incubus and Sublime, like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. She was not listening to like Fugazi and like Dead Kennedys, Black Flag. She told me about Bad Brains, but she wasn't playing Bad Brains heavily in the car. Like my mom wasn't punk like that. So it wasn't until I played Tony Hawk for the first time where I like listened to punk music and actually what happened? Okay, cool. Or it wasn't until I listened to like play video games for the first time I was exposed to other cultures. And I would say that goes vice versa. There's some people that weren't exposed to alternative music or alternative cultures or alternative anything, alternative sounds, maybe because they were only listening to hip hop. And then once they started listening to like, you know, Hollow Squad, you know, sampling Metallica and, you know, Lil Uzi Vert's delivery being very, very, very pop punk, or even the later era of Playboi Carti incorporating a lot of, you know, thrash and metal vibes into his music, I think maybe that possibly got a lot of people that were not into metal before into metal. So I think that ultimately when it comes to this sound that I'm working on right now, it is the culmination of, okay, how can I make something that's like, it sounds modern, it sounds current, but it also sounds like it's pushing it. It sounds like it's pushing the boundaries a little bit. Cause like I love making plug beats. Plug beats are my favorite beat. And I was trying to make a lot of like classical trap beats for people, but I got bored. It just sounded so boring, dude. Like I made nothing but like pretty normal trap beats for like a whole month. All those 50, but eventually you could see like I was getting bored. And I wanted to make something heavier, something more angry, something more aggressive, something that more fits like me and my personality and like how I feel about the world and how I want to express things, and also where I see music going. You know, I see EDM, hip hop, and rock music all fusing together in the next 10 years. It's gonna be indistinguishable almost. And so we're basically about to enter this new age of punk music. Basically, like in terms of like how it's like that energy of punk, like it's about to come back again, but it's gonna be via this era of music. Because if you listen to Two Hollis, you listen to Paris, Texas, Don't Be Dumb by A$AP Rocky, like you listen to these artists, you can tell that the rock influences are coming. But the best way to incorporate rock influences, especially a lot of the timbre, like I guess like for me, I'm trying to include the groove, like the groove and beats of hip hop. So it hits like hip hop does, but it's got this timbre and aggression of rock and like metal and thrash music. But then also the melodic elements are cribbed very heavily in electronic music. A lot of the synths sound like, if you can hear in these beats, the synths sound super duper synthetic and futuristic, you know what I mean? And a little dark, a little spooky, a little scary. And then it's like, yeah, it's got this dark, heavy distortion. And the timbre of distortion has been what's pushed rock music from just being like rhythm and blues, going all the way to like progressive Viking metal. The introduction of themes, moods, motifs, and timbre have been what kind of differentiates every kind of, you know, rock subgenre from each other, you know, and also how much they borrow from jazz music. Um, if you chart, you know, just the beginning of rock, I mean, the beginning of punk, even just look at punk from the Rolling Stones sound, which started with distortion. That is what changed it. That's where we get the heavy metal sound. If it wasn't for distortion and like making the bass sound crazy and all that kind of stuff, we wouldn't get punk music. We wouldn't have thrash music. We wouldn't have heavy metal. You wouldn't have dubstep. We wouldn't have drum and bass if people weren't adding distortion to bass. So I feel like this is a pretty natural, like, logical progression of like where trap music is gonna go. Oh, okay, cool. Like we know the song structure of trap music. We know the chord structure of trap music. Okay, so instead of using Nexus and FL keys, let's start using Serum. Let's start using Vital. Let's start using Xeniology. And Xeniology, Vital, and Serum, like those were primarily used, especially like that 10 years ago. You ask any trap producer, hey, you use Serum, he's gonna look at you crazy. 10 years ago, Serum was only for electronic music. If you made electro, dubstep, fucking deep house, any of that kind of shit, you was using Massive, you was using Serum, especially like 2013. From 2013 onward, nigga, only EDM niggas was using Serum for it. So now that people are starting to use Serum for their trap beats, even in the fucking sample, even in this beat, that I have something from the Vengeance sample pack. I haven't used something from Vengeance sample pack since 2013. Okay, when I was making dubstep beats. Okay, only real ones, real producers in the chat, y'all will know what I mean by the Vengeance sample pack. If you a real one, you know what I mean by Vengeance, because that's how long I've been making beats. Y'all, that's how long I've been doing this shit for it, bro. I have been making beats since Vengeance sample packs was popping in the producer community. Because if you just wanted to be a producer and make cool sounds, it wasn't until 2015 that you could do that. Before 2015, and you wanted to be a producer, you had to get an MPC. And then in the middle of like 2010 to 2012, you see more and more people just starting to make beats on their laptop. But a lot of those people were making electronic beats first. It wasn't until like the rise of Zaytoven and 808 Mafia, who started in 2008, 2009, but it wasn't until like people like that, Travis Porter and stuff like that, started blowing up in like the middle of 2010, and that sound becoming mainstream 2012, 2013, and 2014, all the way to 2015, and then culminating in the magical year of 2016. I think that sound and being a producer in the hip hop world with just your laptop was not even feasible at that time. At least for me. For me, as a fucking 16, 17-year-old kid at that time, I was not even thinking, oh, I can make hip hop beats on my laptop. It was not until I heard 808 Mafia beats and DP and Chief Keef and Young Chop beats and stuff like that I was like, yo, you can just make some slappers from your laptop, and it doesn't have to be like dubstep and shit. Because I wanted to make hard stuff that sounded cool, but I also didn't want it to be like, because dubstep at that time was like starting to lose its luster, and it also, dubstep was not, it was hard to like not everyone liked dubstep. It was hard to find people in real life that liked to listen to dubstep. It was a very rare person. So I often found it easier to communicate with people and work with more artists once I started to make hip-hop music. Once I started making hip-hop, I was like, oh, wait, I'm in places I've never been before off of making music. Because I was over here making EDM and shit, because that's the music I wanted to make at first. At first, I wanted to make Dr. P, like, Excision shit. That's the shit I wanted to make. Like, bro, that's why I got a laptop, is to make Excision-type beats. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be Excision. I wanted to make that sick. Skrillex, Flux Pavilion, Dr. P beats, bro. That's what I wanted to do. That nigga Zomboy. Ooh, that Zomboy shit. Like, bro, that's that shit I wanted to make because it was like fire as fuck to me when I was a kid. So I thought that shit was cool. And it wasn't until, like, yeah, like I said, 2013 that I started to switch it up. But anyway, main point is, in this day and age as an artist, and if you want to make a sound, you can't be safe. You have to have something a little aggressive, a little abrasive, something a little loud, something that you have to give the audience something to talk about. And either the brain rot generation is either gonna fuck with your music because it's brain rot, or you've got people that can just enjoy it for what it is, and then you've got the other half of people that are just gonna make a whole identity off of hating you. And then the only thing that you have to do as an artist is be redeemable. There has to be some element of your music, whether it's, oh, she's just starting out, or they're just a kid, give it some time, or this song is actually legitimately fire, I don't know what y'all are talking about. You have to have some redeemable quality for it. That's just how it goes. You have to have a redeemable quality. But also at the same time, too, there is some shit that's just for trained ears only, bro. Like, sometimes, bro, like, if you want to make a sound that's, like, pushing boundaries and, like, you listen to a lot of different kinds of music, like, yeah, there's niggas that, like, if you only listen to Nipsey Hussle and you listen to one of my beats and you think it's trash, nigga, you only listen to Nipsey Hussle. Like, of course, that's your only reference point is some some smooth guy with a deep voice from LA rapping over LA beats. That's complete. Not to say that's a problem or that's bad. I'm just saying that's your reference point. So if you're coming at me being like, oh, but if you listen to like Slayer in Paris, Texas, and you also listen to like Hollow Squad, you listen to GBC, like you listen to like tread beats from back in the day, like you know about Black Cray, you know about Goth Money, like you actually have actual music taste and know like what music actually had like where music has gone from 2016 all the way to 2026. Like, you was there when Trippie Redd dropped Ah Ooh and Love Scars 1. When you was listening to Wu-Tang Clan, Tribe Called Quest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you listen to actual music. Like, you don't just listen to one kind of genre. You actually listen to music. If you don't actually listen to music, I'm probably not going to take your opinion seriously. And as a producer, you don't want to take those type of music. As an artist in general, you just don't want to take that type of people's advice seriously. If somebody only listens to Sabrina Carpenter and then you play them some Playboi Carti and they're like, oh, I don't like this aggressive hip-hop music. Like, nigga, you only listen to Sabrina Carpenter. Like, of course you're not, like, what good is your opinion anyway? Like, what good is your opinion? Oh, you only listen to Taylor Swift. What good is your opinion? It's not good. Like some old man, oh, I hate that damn loud rap music. It's the worst. But this nigga listening to Bing Crosby all the time. I'm not going to get mad over some nigga that only listens to Bing Crosby. I'm not going to be mad at that. The fuck? Now, if somebody that's like, if someone like Filthy from Working on Dying was to listen to one of my beats and be like, nigga, this shit is trash, quit. I probably would. I'd quit. Because that's someone that's cut from the same producer cloth that I am. They listen to Miami Bounce. They listen to Chicago house music. They listen to Chicago drill beats. They listen to, they have an eclectic music taste. Same thing with Black Cray. Black Cray has an eclectic music taste. It's not just Chief Keef or Gucci Mane. He also listens to Witch House. He listens to alternative music. He grew up skateboarding, so like we all grew up like that. That's someone that's cut from the same cloth artistically that I am. So someone like Black Cray wants to come, like I give Black Cray a beat and he's like, nigga, this shit is doo-doo. Fuck you. Stop making beats right now. Then fuck yeah, nigga, I'd probably listen to somebody like that. I would take someone like that's opinion way more seriously than someone who doesn't have that acumen or isn't cut from that cloth. Because they don't have the vision, you know what I'm saying? And they'll probably fuck with it once it's popular. You know what I mean? People like that are like willing to hate on new stuff and hate on new things. Like, once it's popular and everyone's listening to it, that's probably when you guys will be like, oh, this shit is actually not that bad. Oh, I remember when he first came out. I've been fucking with him since the beginning. All right, for sure. So that's the inspiration behind like this new sound that I have. I want to make something that's actually pushing something. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, bro, like there's not a lot of... I can't really think of a lot of artists right now that like have the trap sound, like the modern underground sound, but also like it's coming hard like rock for real. And it's just about finding the right artist that's gonna see the vision, get behind these beats, bro, and it's gonna be up. Cause like that's what I want to do. I want to make a sound, bro. Like I don't want to be, cause that's like what I was doing with Bishop C4 when I first started. It was just like getting back into making beats, cause I had kind of stopped for a little bit. So I was like, okay, new persona, new mask, new face, new start. Let me get on that with Bishop C4. Let me get on that with Bishop C4. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, we'll do that. We'll get it done. But, let's get on that with Bishop C4 and shit. And I was like, okay, that'll be hard. We can do that. But I kind of got bored doing that, bro. I got bored making the same beats over and over again. Let me make 6 plug beats. Let me do this. Let me do that. Nah, bro. Like, that's not what I got into this shit for. Like, I didn't get into making beats to learn how to make other niggas beats. That's not what I got into this shit for at all. And working with insecure artists kind of turned me into that. Because, you know, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, my God, bro. I almost fell. Like if you are a producer and you're confident in your sound, you're confident in what makes you unique. If you work with an artist that's not confident about what makes them unique or being unique, then you're gonna constantly work with somebody that's gonna ask you, "Oh, can you make a beat like this? Could you make one of these beats? Could you make one of those beats? I want a beat that sounds like insert famous person here, bro." And if that's the kind of producer that you want to be, cool. There's a lane for that. But, you know, the path that's a little bit harder and the path that's less traveled, I feel like, is making your own sound. And if you just look at, like, you know, the Milwaukee music scene, you look at what's going on in, like, you know, Xavier Soul Based and shit, what's going on with, like I said, SDK, bro, like, Fake Mink. They all got their own kind of beat. They got their own things, you know? I think that's interesting. I feel like that should be kind of more, at least that's my focus. You know what I mean? Like, how can I have a sound that's unique to me, individual to me, but it's also uniquely competitive? You know, it's got to be able to compete with everything that's on its level. You know what I'm saying? So, which I'm saying the thing is for, put this on 96 roof. But anyway, that's all. Trust me, I do not want to go and find out. But Fetty Wap had Timbos in prison. All I'm saying is it might not be that bad. I'm not saying I want to go find out. All I'm saying is it may not be that bad. That's all I'm saying. You know, you have a lot of misconceptions about the prison system. They let you have Timbos. That don't sound that bad. And I get high with my baby. I be in the kitchen whipping pies with my baby. Yeah. No, that was one time. That was one time. And I feel like that was a microaggression. I fucking felt like a microaggression. allows people to be like that. Okay, last thing I'm gonna do. Oh, because it comes into attack. That might be what's with it. You gotta consider the following, Drew. Consider the following. Bill Nye was a great time. Bill Nye science guy. Bill Nye the science guy. Bill Nye the science guy. I mean, it's good to know, you know. It's all about support, Doug.